Northumberland County Planning Commission to order August 28th at approximately 7 o'clock. Okay, roll call.
Chris Crawley.
Here.
Patrick O'Brien.
Here.
John Cost.
Present.
Vivian Diggs. Garfield Parker.
Here.
Alan Garland.
Here.
Roger McKinley. He emailed me and said he would not be able to make it. Charles Williams.
Here.
Heidi Wilkins Corey.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay, thank you very much. You've had a chance to look at the agenda, approval of the agenda. Thanks.
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Let's move on to the approval of the minutes from July 17th, 2025 meeting.
Mr. Chair, you skipped the invocation and the pledge.
I did. Okay, so good. You can help me out.
I'll do the pledge, I can't do the invocation.
Okay, all right. Let's all stand. Would you do the pledge? Okay, invocation first. My Father, I thank you this day for again guiding us and directing our path for the citizens of Northumberland County. We pray that you will guide and keep us going. Amen.
Amen. The flag is up here, if all join in. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Commissioners' comments. Anything?
Wait, hold on. We get back to the minutes.
Get back to the minute. I'm sorry. You didn't
No
do the
problem.
minutes? Ah, okay. This call's got me off a little bit. Okay. Approval for the July 17th, 2025, the minutes.
Move that the minutes be approved as written.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Commissioners' comments. Anybody?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I don't know if you saw this in the newspapers, but Philip Marston's father, Dr. Sam Marston,
Yes.
passed away earlier this week, I believe. And if you knew Dr. Sam, he was just one of the all-time greats and a real pillar of this community. And if you had a dog or a cat or a sheep or a herd of cows, he was the man to know.
Yeah.
And he lived a very full life with a splendid family, and he will be sorely missed.
You're absolutely correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the acknowledgement.
Oh, I'm sorry. There will be a visitation at Curry's Funeral Home, 5 to 7 on Friday, and services will be held at St. Stephen's Episcopal at 11 a.m. on Saturday.
All right, thank you. Any further comments? Okay. Anything from you, Stuart? Comments?
Just a heads up, we have a vacation home rental conditional use permit for next month. I'll be sending you the application next, well, probably tomorrow, but maybe Monday. So if any citizens call you or have any questions about it, you'll have the information. It's in Chesapeake Beach. It's R3 zone, so that's the triggers the conditional use for a vacation home rental.
Okay. All right.
And it'll be advertised in the paper next week and the week after that.
Okay. All right. That doesn't cover anything that we've got so far. That's something new.
Oh, it's a new application, but remember last year,
Right.
we did with the short-term rentals, we everything R3 is conditional use, so we'll probably get to see some familiar faces from last year.
Okay, you're probably right. Okay. Citizens' comments, as long as it has nothing to do with any of the proceedings that we're going to talk about tonight in open hearing. Any comments from the citizens? I'm glad to see you all. Government in action. Okay, anything? Anybody? Okay, Stewart?
Yes, sir. Let me get the sign-in sheet for people to speak, and then we can open up the public hearing.
Thank you.
So we want to open up the public hearing, and I'll get the public notice up and read the ad. Oh, that's not it. Well, it's, I see, it's, there it is. This public hearing is for consideration of the proposed draft 2025 comprehensive plan to be recommended to the Board of Supervisors for approval.
Okay,
And if you'd like to open up the public hearing.
all right. I'd like to open up the public hearing. I have Mr., Mrs., what's that?
It looks like Mr. Ray.
Mr. Reed, first person that signed up, that's where I'll put it. Yes, sir, come on out. Hickey.
Are you suggesting, Mr. Chair, he needs to work on his penmanship?
If you could stand near the microphone so people online can hear.
To see if the dredging of the Little Wycomico
Could you
River-
state your name and address, please?
Daniel Hickey, 989 Smith Point Road, Reedville, Virginia.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find out if the dredging of the Little Wycomico is being addressed by this body. And if it is, what's the status of what you're addressing, and then where does it go from here? Right now, as I mentioned to somebody, we're losing 5 to 6% of our business every month because boats are coming into the Little Wycomico. No problem on the Great Wycomico, but yeah. So we're being hurt by this lack of dredging so far. So we're just very interested in what's going on and where it stands and who's on first.
What business were you referring to?
Sorry?
What business were you referring to?
Smith Point Marina.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Sandra Maynard.
Hello, my name is Sandra Maynard. I live at 83 Riverview Road, Eastville, Virginia, 22473. I'm a homeowner on Ellison Creek that's attached to the Little Wycomico River. And I would like to follow up. I had sent an email with details on August 24th, and Mr. McKenzie has forwarded it to the team, the planning group. Several of us had a meeting with Representative Whitman's office here earlier in August, and that meeting was opened up by his staff, who mentioned that in the past there were earmarks. That program no longer exists, but now there is community project funding. In researching that, I found that that was authorized in 2021, and the first community project funding project started occurring in 2022. This year, Representative Whitman actually put in a request for Winter Harbor in Matthews County for $2 million. The start of this process is the completion of the joint permit application. Currently, the Northern Neck Planning and Development Commission is doing a survey with Shoreline Consulting, actually a Phase 3 dredging plan, with Shoreline Consulting and Virginia Institute of Marine Science. At that meeting, we were assured that all of the spoil information that is needed for Northumberland County to negotiate with the adjacent landowners for placement of the dredge spoil, that all of that detail would make it to Mr. Tadlock by the end of August 2025, and that the permit would be completed by December 2025. This is really important because the starting cycle currently looks like it'll be February 1st by looking at other representatives to Congress, in order to submit for community project funding. So it's really critical that that permit be completed and that the ball be handed off so that the permit can be approved and we can get funding for the severe shoaling at the Little Wycomico River. So what I am asking is a change in the plan specifically to state that the Little Wycomico River is a priority dredge project in the planning document. And the reason why this is important is if you look at the requirements to obtain community project funding, it says that the planning documents of the jurisdictions that are requesting the fund lined up with the goals, right? So it would be where that is lined up with our state representative and eventually the state of Virginia, where potentially we could get state funding and also federal funding. Now, if you read the statement on Representative Whitman's site for Winter Harbor and Matthews County for $2 million, it says that, and I provide the links in the email, it says that the funding is to restore navigational depth to Winter Harbor. The Little Wycomico has a large amount of commercial, residential, recreational use, quite a bit. So my request to the board today is to please incorporate the Phase 3 dredging survey that Northern Neck Planning and Development Commission is doing, incorporate those drawings and make it a priority. So when we finish up with the permit in December, the citizens can advocate to get the Little Wycomico dredge because citizen advocacy is required to get the funding. I've researched in-depth Matthews County approach, and they have had a very organized approach to obtain this funding, where they've reached out to their elected officials numerous times. So if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them, but I'd appreciate your support in adding that, please, to the plan.
First of all, thank you for being so well prepared and bringing us up to speed on all of this. I wasn't aware of this until I saw your request. You mentioned the maps. Are those the same maps that are in the NNDPC document, their plan? So we could reference that. The problem is if we insert a map in our document, it's going to screw up our process. I want to do what you want here as much as we can, but is citing it by reference sufficient, or do we need to actually include the map for some reason in our plan, other than a reference to it?
I think you could probably add that the waterways that provide navigation to the Chesapeake Bay specifically are priority. Now, the Matthews County plan actually has the waterways ranked high, medium, low, and priority. That would be very helpful in order to do that. The thing that's attractive about the Phase 3 study that NMPDC is doing is that it shows the docks, the marinas, the oyster operations. It shows how critical this water body is to Northumberland County.
But at the same time, they've got that documentation. There's no point in us repeating it. We simply refer to it. That would solve at least that part of the problem.
It would only solve it if you put into the current plan that it is a priority for Northumberland County, the waterways that connect to the Chesapeake Bay, that those remain navigable so that access to the Chesapeake Bay remains.
Excellent. Thank you. That's very helpful.
Very good.
Are there any other questions?
We've got your information, how to contact you on your sign-up sheet, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Well, we got the email too, and everybody did receive that email, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. I assume if they don't bounce back, I assume they get it.
Does Stuart have a copy of the Northern Neck Planning Commission
Yes, I do.
study or
Would
whatever?
you like to look at it?
I would like to be emailed it.
Okay. I've got some maps if you want to look at them right now, but
Do we know the last time that was? that the
and I can
Little
show those
Wycomico
on the
was
screen
dredged?
if you'd like.
It's about, last time it was dredged 2014.
2014.
Okay. Up until 2014. Okay.
And what's the depth now?
Well, if you look, well, I can defer to them, but according to the maps, it looks like about 3 feet at low tide. Is that about right?
And this is a problem too, because we would often see sailboats come in. As you all know, that's like one of the widest parts of the Chesapeake Bay, right? So the winds really get whipping. And so one of the problems is the sailboats can't get in anymore. It's one of the areas that they go to in order to seek shelter. And of course, I'll let Smith Point Sea Rescue, who's been quite verbal on this in the newspapers and in the reports, where ships are running aground there. It's very critical on several fronts.
Well, in that study as well, there's Cranes Creek, and I think if we're going to mention Little Wacomico, we definitely need to mention Cranes Creek, even though we all know the highest priority is Little Wacomico. But I would say that the Cranes Creek is probably a medium priority, I guess. I also went online for the National Channels, what was that? National Channels Framework. It's the Army Corps of Engineers GIS database that has all the channels that they maintain. And I got a screenshot of that as well. And it's hard to see, but there's a little bit there with the jetty and the cone. There's, of course, a Little Wacomico here. It's hard to see, but there's a little thing in Sandy Point, which is Cranes Creek, which is the medium channel. And then I'm not even sure which creek that is. Maybe somebody can help me out. There's another one. I should have looked it up before I came here, but it's above Hewlett Point.
Bluff Point, above Hewlett Point?
Yeah,
That's Ball Creek, probably.
Yeah.
Ball Creek.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Sort of looked like there was another one up at the top by Cone Creek.
Yeah, that's what I said. The jetty at Cone River.
Sorry,
Yeah.
missed that, sorry.
Yeah. So there's 4 according to them, but I know there are more federal navigation markers in various creeks. And I just found it interesting that there's only 4 channels according to the Army Corps of Engineers that we have that navigate, when, we got the whole Yacomico and Great Wacomico rivers that, I guess because they don't shoal in, they're not on the radar screen. I don't know.
Well, some of them you just can't get into anyway.
Well, I mean, Presley Creek, Hull Creek, things of that nature, those are, but they don't have any federal navigation markers in them. We'll get back to the Little Wacomico.
That's it.
So this is DEM. It's a digital elevation model, and it actually goes below the water. And it shows it's right out near the mouth, and then south of the jetty as well. There looks like there's a sandbar there, and the businesses she was talking about is shown here with all the different types of businesses. In that, it shows the docks and the marinas and seafood and related. And there's the actual channel with the navigation markers. And this submerged aquatic vegetation, which is, I guess, important to avoid. But I do believe that the priority for the county, and the board has said this on numerous occasions at Little Wacomico, is the priority for anything getting dredged in the county.
Okay.
And I don't have a problem at all with stating that in the comprehensive plan.
Thank you.
Like Mr. Call said, if we could just reference this study and state that we would like all that, well, let me get back to your suggestions. The way you word it, it's fine, but I also think it kind of leaves a loophole for the federal government. Her sentence that she wanted to add in here, let me see if I can get this bigger here, is in blue. Is that correct? That's what you added, yeah. Specific to Northumberland County, the dredging priority is for all federal channels marked with U.S. Coast Guard H navigation in order to maintain access to the Chesapeake Bay. That's more encompassing than federal navigated channels, but I don't know if y'all are familiar with Milford Haven and down the Middle Peninsula, but they had a problem with that a couple of years ago with dredging. And so the Coast Guard pulled up all the markers and said, well, we're not going to maintain it anymore. And so I don't know if we want to say, I don't know, are y'all comfortable with that language? I talked with the county administrator today about how we would handle this going forward. So if y'all are comfortable, if we can determine exactly what the language we want to modify the comp plan, then we can go ahead and make a final decision and move it on. Now, if you want staff to work on it and tweak it, then we'll have to come back and revisit it next meeting. But if we can formulate the language that you want put in the comp plan, and if that's the sentence, then that's fine. We can just go ahead and adopt it that way.
Mr. Costa.
May I make a suggestion, and please pay attention to this, so give me opinion as well, if I may, to use that sentence with the addition at the end, with highest priority given to the Little Wacomico River.
Sounds right to me.
You happy?
That sounds great to me, thank you.
Should we mention Cranes Creek at all?
And next priority, and additional, and next priority to Cranes Creek.
That would work.
Should we somehow reference the continuing need for this on an ongoing basis, like the every 7 years that they were talking about, or something to that effect?
Please. Because we know it's going to happen again, right?
Yeah.
Well, have you had any feedback from our delegate or from Mr. Tadlock's office?
Yes, he was on the meeting with Representative Whitman's.
That was a year ago, wasn't it?
No, we were on a call just a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And the biggest thing when Representative Whitman's staffers opened the meeting, they said there's two criteria. The first criteria is the Little Wacomico, eligible for dredging? And the answer to that is yes. And then the second question is, does the Army Corps of Engineers have capacity and funding to do it? And in 2025, and their answer to that was no. So I worked in federal government in budget for about 8 years, doing
so
budget.
you're the problem.
Not for the Army Corps. But it's like a 2-year process, right?
Right.
So you have to put in your budget resource request, and it has to make it all the way up. So Representative Whitman's office indicated 2027 might be the earliest, but they can't request any money until that joint permit application is done, because with the joint permit application, that says the Corps approves, the state of Virginia approves, and it also puts us in line for funding,
Yeah.
right? And then it also takes some pretty significant citizens push. Really, hats off to Matthews County. If you go online and look at some of their citizen advocacy, they have been on it. They're a great example to follow for success for us.
Have you had any communication with Lake Coward?
No, sir, I have not.
I would strongly urge you to do that, because he has gotten it done before, and his business is huge in this county and very much dependent on navigable channels. And I think he would be a very valuable ally.
Yes, sir. Mr. McKenzie, if I may reach out to you for his contact information.
I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
And Stuart, who makes the, Tadlock, Mr. Tadlock makes he completes the,
The joint permit application is a standard application that any citizen or government agency does when they want to impact state bottom. They call it a joint permit application because it's reviewed by multiple agencies. The Army Corps of Engineers reviews it, Virginia Institute of Marine Science reviews it. And so it's just a standard application. If you want a pier, you got to get to a JPA. If you want riprap, you got to do a JPA. If you want osprey pole, you got to do a JPA. But it's anything that's when you're impacting state bottom. And so it also, you have to deal, when a dredging project, you have to have all the permits for the dredge spoils, as you mentioned. And that's one of that's the linchpin for a dredging project. If you don't have a place to put the dredge spoils, you can't do the project. So you got to secure that before the project even begins, that you have the permits to be able to take care of the dredge
So
spoils.
if we accept this, then when does that process start?
I'm not plugged into this. This is Mr. Tadlock
Yeah, no.
and the Board of Supervisors and the planning, and Mr. Davis at the Planning District Commission, and maybe Mr. Basie, I'm not sure, but I've not been plugged in on it. I know it's a high priority. I know they're doing everything they can to make this happen, but the wheels of government move slow.
And they
But-
just need our validation through the comprehensive plan as one more element of saying, go forward, please.
And the board, of course, could do a resolution as well, stating that that's their priority. You know, there's a lot of things you can do, but having citizens sounds like it's also a key for this as well. But it's just another justification that it's an important community project and that that the government is behind it and fully endorsing the project.
Okay, great.
My understanding from the meeting with Representative Whitman's office was that Northern Neck Planning Development Commission and VIMS and the consultant would provide the information on the dredge spoils, including the sampling information, to Mr. Tadlock by the end of August. And then he would start negotiating with potential dredge spoil site owners with the possibility of, putting some on the beach there where the beach has eroded, but that he would work on that negotiation so that the completed permit could be done by December 31st. And I can't express enough how critical it is for the permit to be done this year so that we don't miss the opportunity in 2026 to apply for the state and federal funding.
804.
Pardon?
He's giving you a phone number.
I'm giving you a phone number, 804
Oh, you got it. Got it.
529 6103 is his office. And he does return his phone calls if he's not there.
Just ask for Julio.
Quite possibly.
Are there any other questions?
Everybody get that phone number that needs it? Okay.
Can I just ask, may it be 804-529-6103?
That's correct.
Are there any more questions? Any more questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I'm sorry. One question. How have you talked to Hillary Pugh Kent's office?
That I've already been drafting the correspondence for, and I actually would like to invite her to come down and to view it for herself, so that she can help advocate for this with her colleagues here for the state of Virginia to help us get the funding. So I'm very eager to have her come and visit the site in person.
You got her number too?
I do. I thought I did. And it's an election year,
Yes, sir.
so she will be quite glad to assist you. But I don't see her phone number here.
I spoke with their office, and they were not quite sure what was going on. However, they were also looking for this report that's supposed to come out from the NIMS tomorrow. It's the end of August for the working people. And so they were going to wait until this report came out and then figure out what they're going to do next. But they did not have one, in my opinion.
Hillary Kent, 804-512-8812. Get that? Okay.
I have a last question. You mentioned the citizen advocacy on the part of Matthews County. What, what are your plans to let the citizens know this is an issue? Because, I mean, I've heard about it, I live on Little Wycomico River, I know it's been dredged in the past, but honestly, I didn't know all this is involved, and I'm sure there's a lot of people sitting at home that don't even know we're talking about it tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
So how do we reach out to the citizens and the businesses on Little Wycomico to get their support?
Actually, I'm working on a website, but I've set up a Gmail account for dredgelwjettyva@gmail.com. And the plan is to go ahead and start organizing that citizen advocacy, because I think it's really critical that we hit, especially starting now and in through May, to put the pressure on in order to get the funding to dredge the jetty.
Can you give me that
Sure.
Gmail again, please?
Sure, it's dredgelwjettyva@gmail.com.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
The Rappahannock Record would probably love to do a story on that.
Yeah.
I write one every 6 months.
I definitely wanted,
That was probably intentional. You write it, and you submit it to the newspaper?
Absolutely.
And do they print it?
Yes. Word for word.
Way to go.
I did want to reach out to the county first before I started, sending things to the newspaper to let you know where the research is and where we're at on this. And thank you for the opportunity to comment.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I have Mr. Ott, Steve Ott.
Sandy's a hard act to follow. I'm Steve Ott, 1443 Sherwood Drive, Reedville, president of the Sherwood Forest Shores Homeowners Association. So thank you, Sandy, for doing such a thorough job. I'm going to keep mine kind of short, just to kind of outline the concerns of the citizens in Sherwood Forest Shores. So there are a lot of concerns, and people that come to me almost every day asking about the status of the jetty at the mouth of the river. People are getting stuck quite often. They're concerned if their boat breaks down that the sea rescue won't be able to get to them. And I don't know what to tell them. Saturday, we're having our annual meeting. I would love to be able to say, this is what's going on. And I really do appreciate everybody's attention to this. I can tell you, I'm taking it so seriously. But it is a large concern, so we're here to advocate for the project, whatever Sandy needs us to do, whatever all of us can do to get this elevated. I just want to say it is a big concern. We see every day the commercial boats going in and out. We see the sea rescue. I was in the jetty just last weekend on Sunday, and we have a shallow draft boat, so it wasn't too big of a problem, but it depends. But you asked about the depth, well, it varies. It's not always the same. It's not uniform. And so sometimes you're kind of weaving your way out, and there's concerns about getting hung up. Who's going to pay for the prop damage or, anything that happens like that. So I'm trying to go back to the citizens, the 1,000 of us in Sherwood Forest Shores, which I think it's the largest community on the river. So it's a big deal. We are talking about it, but I don't think enough people really understand it. And then they're just sort of grumbling as they go through, but some people actually get caught up in it. And so I really appreciate everybody's attention to it. I don't know if I can add anything more, if there's any questions for me, but we're here to advocate.
Steve, one quick question, just for my information. You mentioned you've got about 1,000 homeowners. How many of them are full-time residents versus part-time versus?
So I want to estimate that, but I want to say about 33% are full-time.
Okay.
We have a lot of seasonal boaters, a lot of people with boats. I mean, it's a big boating community, fishermen. They're fishing in the jetty there. And I just want to mention too, the seawall itself has degraded, or at least that's my understanding. So it's not just the dredging, it's also the wall itself that, I don't know when that was originally constructed, but from the standpoint of the citizens though, it's not a maintenance project, it's an emergency project. So from their perspective, it's not every 7 years, we're now due for a maintenance. It's not their perspective. Their perspective is it's like critical. Tomorrow I might not be able to get out. So people are worried. Really worried.
And they're all taxpayers.
Yes, 1,000 of us.
I'll talk to you. May I have your phone number?
Yes. 571-364-8255. 1315.
For those of you wondering, we're branching out as a planning commission, to become a dating service too, that's why all the phone
If I ever need a phone number, I'll speak to Mr. O'Brien.
All right, thank you. Any more questions for Mr. Ott? Okay, and I have Ariane Carpenter.
Just to speak to this guy noise a little further, I am a resident of Sherwood Forest Shores, 1117 Sherwood Drive in Reedville. In addition to what Sandy has said and what Steve has said, I have seen we've been here 20 years. In previous years, sailboats coming in to the Little Wycomico for Safe Harbor. So it's exactly consistent with everything I've read in the Planning Commission draft 2025 plan in terms of supporting recreation, in terms of supporting tourism, in terms of supporting businesses. We do have 2 commercial oyster plants on the river in addition to the Smith Point Marina owned by Mr. Hickey. We have Cockrell's Marina also, so we have 4 major businesses on the river. It is maintained by the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard does maintain the markers on the river, and it's a safety of life issue where you have sailboats that need to come in during a storm that many of them now can't get in. I don't know if you ever watch any of the posts from Smith Point Sea Rescue on Facebook. They have had a number of instances where they couldn't get boats in that needed to be rescued. And in the first call we had with Congressman Whitman's office, they did mention that the Coast Guard has been asking Smith Point Sea Rescue a number of times to help them out with rescues. And so it really is critical that they be able to get in, they be able to get the sailboats and other large boats that they're trying to rescue in, as well as for the recreation and commercial use of the river by the 4 commercial establishments on the river. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Would there anyone else like to speak? Is there anyone online that would like to speak to that? Okay. Is there anybody else with a comment? All right, I'm going to close the public.
Dan has something.
We did a survey of the Chesapeake Shores community as far as them being able to take the dredge sand. The big question was where to put the dredge sand. We have 17 individuals that own all the property south in continuous property south of the jetties who will all take the dredge sand. They'd love to have it. A number of them have already built rock revetment out there because their sand was going away. And there's about 100 yards of sand that's completely disappeared from the jetty wall. And that has disappeared, and that's why we were talking about the jetty wall itself is going to be breached at some point. So the dredge sand can go on the south side as soon as we get the report tomorrow that says so. And that's where it needs to go.
And is Mr. Chadlock aware of that?
I've sent him several messages, including the
Okay.
17 landowners there that have said, we want the sand.
So that would be a yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
My wife does that to me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great minds.
Stu, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, other than I'd just like to make sure that the commission is crystal clear on the language that we're going to add so that we, if you all want to, move forward tonight and make a final action on the plan.
Okay.
So basically, we'd have to, I mean, if Mr. Collis has got the wording, if he could read it back to the commission so that everyone would know. Well, let's just read
Okay.
that, and then once we make a motion to do that, you'll need to read
Okay,
that.
Mr. Goss?
But I read this after I make the motion, correct?
Oh, are you making a motion? I thought we just want to clarify the sentence first.
Got it. No, I'm going to make the motion because the sentence will be very clear.
Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Chairman, I move to amend the Chapter 1 of the draft plan, page 65, paragraph 4, following the sentence that ends in overall dredging cost by adding the following wording. Specific to Northumberland County, the dredging priority is for all federal channels marked with U.S. Coast Guard aids to navigation in order to maintain access to the Chesapeake Bay with highest priority given to the Little Wacomico River and next priority for Cranes Creek. This motion is made in due consideration of the administrative record before the body, including the Planning Commission's deliberations and recommendation, the information received via the public hearing, including statements offered by staff, the applicant, and members of the public health and safety, the general welfare of the community, public necessity, convenience in the exercise of good zoning practices, and body's legislative priority, and pursuant to the body's statutory authority.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And it's passed. Okay. All right. Okay?
Thank you.
And we should close the public hearing.
And we'll close the public hearing at this time. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Thanks.
Smith Point had been busy this season pulling boats off of sand. They've been very busy.
He's probably not gonna want anything done to him. Be hard on his business.
Yeah. They've been pulling boats out of those dunes all summer.
Well, a sailboat with a normal keel.
Sailboat with a normal keel,
It's
just,
going to have a tough time getting in there,
yeah,
even at high tide.
yeah.
What do they take it down to? About 8 feet? Is that the goal to dredge?
Is that your understanding, Stuart?
I'm not sure what the target depth is. Usually they go a couple of feet more than they really want because of settling when they're dredging. But I would say 7, 8, 9 feet, something around there.
So
That's one of the things that has to be determined in the application.
Okay.
How far, because that calculates the cubic yards of sediment, which is another thing you have to have. And it's engineering,
Yeah.
and dirt moving, but it's underwater.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing battle. Every time you get a storm, it shifts something. If you get a strong storm, it fills it in pretty quick.
Wow.
Y'all made a move. We had the public hearing.
All right.
You got it. It's ready.
Okay, are we straight, Stuart, as far as we've done everything we're supposed to do?
Yeah, I will take, if you want to do it, you can do it. I'll do it, whatever I don't want to step on your toes, but we'll need to modify the comprehensive plan with that sentence and then recompile it. And then Mr. Cost had asked, at the last meeting, I had said that I was going to send it to state agencies, and I discussed it with Mr. Tadlock the day after the meeting. And he said we can't send it to state agencies until we have a public hearing and act on it. So I will be able to send it tomorrow, or as soon as I can put that sentence in and get it out to the state agencies, VDOT and DEQ for review.
Okay, but that should not hinder sending the comprehensive plan to the Board of Supervisors.
Well, yeah, because we don't send it to the Board of Supervisors until we get feedback from the two agencies,
Okay.
and then perhaps make the changes they request.
Okay,
And then we won't have to have another public hearing, but we'll have to make another motion to recommend the
Okay.
final draft
Excellent.
to the board.
excellent.
But, yeah, I'll send it off, like I said, either this week or early next week to the state agencies and get that ball rolling.
So we don't need a motion to do that.
No, that's an internal process that we need to do
Okay.
to be compliant with the state code.
Okay.
I don't want to muck anything up, but in your motion, are we also including the reference to the maps?
It's already in there. If you look at the footnote number 20 on the bottom of the page
Okay.
references the NNDPC stuff.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because we had that conversation with her about could we just make a reference? So as long as
Yeah.
it's there, then that's good.
Okay. All right, can we move forward? Okay. Work session items. Examine whether the county wants to revise their zoning ordinance to allow sun shelters, i.e. gazebos, on private, non-commercial piers.
Yes, sir. Of course, Mr. Marston is on family leave, so he's not in. I talked with Mr. Tadlock, and he said, if y'all want to go ahead and try to move this forward, that would be fine, but that he thought, and I think it's a good idea to have Mr. Marston here to give his input, since he's going to be the one to enforce it. But we can definitely make some progress and discuss this tonight. I believe everybody got a copy of the picture that Mr. Palubinsky sent. This is a combination of boathouse and the sun shelter there. So the boathouse, the ridge is coming towards us, perpendicular shoreline, and the sun shelter has got the ridge line parallel to the shoreline. So that's what one may look like. At the last meeting, Mr. McKinley, we talked about screening, and Mr. McKinley and Mr. Bryan thought that it's not worth building it without screening. But I got Mr. Marston to email Mr. Madden, and regarding, Mr. McKinley asked me if the 400 feet was in addition to the L heads and T heads, and then you can have a sun shelter gazebo of 400 feet, and I told him no, it was in aggregate, but he asked me to ask, so we asked Mr. Madden, and he said that all you get is 400 square feet. So it's either an L head or a T head that are 400 square feet, or a gazebo, it's 400, but some combination of the two the total is 400 square feet is all you get. A boathouse can't be more than 700 square feet. So in totality, it'll be about 1,100 square feet if you have both a sun shelter and a boathouse out on the water. But regarding the screens, Mr. Madden referred to it as netting, I guess, but he said he would advise against netting because it leads to doors, knee walls, and other things. And I also revisited the memo that the board gave us, and it states, investigate adding open-sided gazebos to the zoning ordinance. And to me, a screen is a wall. It's a screened wall. And that's my opinion. And I believe Mr. Marston is of the same, but I don't want to speak for him, but in our conversations, he felt like screens were not in keeping with the open wall, open-sided structure that VMRC says you must have. And I could bring up the code if y'all would like to look at that as well.
This would, in any case, be a conditional use permit?
Well, that's what we need to work on. What Mr. Marston envisions is paralleling the boathouse ordinance that we have now. So now, currently, if your boathouse meets height and size requirements, and, well, let me back up. When you put in a boathouse application, the county contacts all of your adjacent landowners and tells them that you are going to want a boathouse. And if you have objections, to contact the county. And if there is an objection, then that kicks the boathouse to conditional use. If none of your neighbors objects, then it's a permitted use, except in R3. But basically, you're allowed to have a boathouse if it meets VMRC criteria, then, and none of your neighbors object, then it's your permit. You got a permit. You can go ahead and build it. But if it's either bigger than it's supposed to be, or it's been objected by the neighbors, then that means that you have to go to a public hearing and it'd be a conditional use permit, if that's clear.
It is, Stuart, Mr. Herman. How do you define a neighbor there, Stuart? You've touched on this before, but I want to clarify it in my mind. How far down the creek do you go?
Mr. Marston is the best person to speak on this, but I think technically in Virginia state law, it's only those properties that you share a property line with.
Okay.
But in the past, Mr. Marston, if it's a skinny creek, he may grab people on the other side. If it's a very tight group, like say Chesapeake Beach, he may go another block across. But it really depends. If it's on a peninsula, it might be everybody on the peninsula. So it varies with the site, but I think state law says it's just one neighbor, adjacent property that share a property line. And that's what Mr. Madden had said in his earlier email, is that's what VMRC considers it. And these are conversations I had 3 weeks ago with Mr. Marston. So, but he envisions it would be the same sort of thing, that if it's below 400 square feet and open-sided, and no neighbors, you talk to your neighbors and they're okay with it and there's no objections, then it's a permitted use. But if somebody objects, then you have to go pay the $1,000 and go to the conditional use process. And you may or may not get it, depending on how the board views the impact on the community.
And right now, as far as you know, King George is the only one that allows?
Yes, sir.
Essex, right?
At the last meeting, Mr. McKinley, I think, I'm not sure, Mr. O'Brien or Mr. McKinley, asked me to contact neighboring counties about their gazebo, sun shelters, and whether they allow screens. So I contacted Kenneth Vaughn at Middlesex County, King George County, and he sent it to his assistant, Lucy Tuthill, and she said we can only allow what VMRC and the Chesapeake Bay Act allows, which are water-dependent facilities. I've been taught that anything with walls is not water-dependent and thus not permitted. I suppose the screened-in walls are not considered full walls and can be considered open-sided in some cases. In my time, I have not heard of or seen any gazebos or screened-in areas permitted on a pier in King George. Now, I don't know how long she's been there, but that's what she said. And then I also contacted Middlesex County, and I even got a terser answer. We do not specifically permit them. Being that our zoning districts do not extend over state bottom, we just defer to VMRC. So I guess that means they allow them, but it doesn't say anything about screening, because I asked him about screened in, and he didn't mention that. To look at our ordinances, what we have on the books, this is the kicker right here. This is the reason we are here today. In our pier ordinance, which is under the zoning ordinance, section 148, 150 under piers, section B says open-sided shelter roofs or gazebo-type structures shall not be placed on non-commercial piers. So that is why they're not allowed in Northumberland County. Now, again, this is Mr. Marston's bailiwick, but one of the things we would have to do is to remove this sentence. That would be one thing. Now, the whole conditional use, if neighbors object thing, we'd have to craft into the boathouse ordinance. And here is the boathouse ordinance, but it does not mention anything about that process. You have to, and it's kind of convoluted, but you have to go to the usage table, which is an attachment to the zoning ordinance, but it tells you, I think y'all are familiar with it, we worked on this a few years ago. Why did this keep on, I don't want AI. So this is how, I explained it earlier, but this is how it's portrayed in the usage tables. The top line is boathouses which are meeting height and square footage requirements are permitted, and of course the headings are hidden, but C1, A1, R1, R2, R3, R4, B1, and B1. So it's permitted in all of them except R3 if it meets this height and square footage requirements. And if the boathouses do not meet the height and square footage requirements, or there are objections, it's conditional use in all of the zoning districts except for R1, which R1's landlocked. Most of those are in the villages.
So help me understand, you brought up the ordinance first, which says shall not. Could we not amend that to say gazebos may be, subject to conditional use permit, gazebos may be permitted? Why can't we amend the negative to a positive or a conditional positive?
Well, because the VMRC statute says unless, let's see here, go away. If prohibited by local ordinance, Open-sided shelter roofs or gazebo-type structures shall not be placed on platform. So it is prohibited. So if we remove the prohibition, then they're allowed.
Subject to conditional use.
Well, that's what we have to work on. If that's what you all want to do.
It seems like the simplest solution, just amend the ordinance with a slight change of wording and you're done.
Do we know the reason that that ordinance was put in? To
No.
not allow gazebos, but allow boathouses? It's just,
Well, the boathouse was amended to.
yeah, but I mean, why, I'd be curious to know why the shall not was put in with gazebos. Like, what was the reasoning behind it?
Yeah, good question.
Because I would think that people who move here want access to the water. And if you've got a big old gazebo standing there, you're not going to see.
Well, I don't know if you saw in that picture that
I
Mr.
did.
Palubinsky said, there's a couch out there.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll put a couch out there, the next thing you're gonna do is get one of those outdoor TVs.
Right?
And then they gotta get the boom box out there, and then everybody's living room is out on the creek, and they're all blasting music on
Right.
top of each other.
I don't
Right.
think that's the reason that was put in.
Oh, I don't think so either, but I mean, if you,
I'm talking about Mr. Parker's. Because if that was the reason, then it would be shall not to boathouses, because they block far more view than gazebos.
well, we're
There's something
unique in the
else.
northern neck. I mean, we're the only county that allow boathouses.
At the only ones.
And so, that's a big perk, and that's maybe why some people locate here.
Yeah.
And sun shelters, I guess, would be the cherry on top of that sundae. I don't know.
I would say that the only caveat, but if there's an existing boathouse, then maybe it would make sense to say, if there's an existing boathouse, you shall not put a gazebo. That makes more sense than just saying, shall not put a gazebo, to me.
I live on a creek, we have 2 boathouses. If either of those properties put up a gazebo, that would be wondrous to at least block part of the view of the crappy boathouses they have. But I can't think of a single dock on our creek where somebody put up a boathouse that would be objectionable. I cannot think of one.
Yeah.
You're not very flat, are you? Yeah, you got hills all around.
Yes, we do.
I've been to Board of Supervisors meetings where boathouses were hotly contested,
Oh, I get that, but that's not before us.
but didn't really have anything to do with the boathouse. It had to do with neighbors who didn't like each other.
Okay.
Seriously. If I could imagine that if Philip got an application for a boathouse or a gazebo, he'd go and look at the property and see whether it's going to be a problem for the neighborhood and a problem for our sort of navigable waterway.
I have a feeling that the underlying reason why we don't have it approved yet is there's a fear that these things are going to populate, and it's going to be so many of them. I've just noticed recently, I've been seeing it all the time, but it just resonated with me that it's so many docks on the creek that I'm on right now, and it looks great. They really look nice. But if you approve this, are you subject to get one of these on every one of those docks? And then what's it going to look like? I don't know, it's just a question. I think they're great in some fittings, just like boathouses are, but I do think it's a problem if your neighbor can see out in the river, out in the creek, now all of a sudden his neighbor is put up something to restrict it. I don't think that's right. I think he has a right to have that view. If the neighbors get along, I'd go along with that, if they can get along with it. But just to do it and not worry about your neighbor is an issue.
The neighbor would be, though, one of the people notified of the proposal.
If they, yeah, adjacent. Well, it depends on how far up the creek he is.
Well, but bad news travels. I mean, if the next door neighbor gets a letter that somebody wants to put up a sun shelter, I assure you, if he's not in favor of it, everybody in the neighborhood's gonna know that that person wants to put up a sun shelter. And they'll all show up at the public hearing. I mean, I hear exactly what Mr. Williams is saying, and but I think that's what the conditional use piece falls into play, just like it does with a boathouse. I mean, if you put a boathouse on every dock that's on your creek, you got the same problem.
Same problem.
So I think the way we have our boathouse ordinance, if we want to do a sunshade ordinance that has the similar properties, has to meet VMRC, has to be okay with the neighbors, or it has to go to a conditional use permit. And that hearing, then it's all on the Board of Supervisors whether they approve it or not. And surely they'll listen to the neighbors and they'll look at pictures and listen to what Mr. Marston has to say and approve it or not.
You know, that, to your point, Heidi, remember when that guy wanted to build a set of apartments?
Right?
And one neighbor down the road got a letter. Well, all of a sudden, we had 20, 30 people showing up here, objecting to it. So yes, news does travel fast.
So, Heidi, are you saying just incorporate the wording for the sun shelter within the boathouse ordinance?
I don't know if I think I would do a separate sunshade ordinance, or a sun shelter ordinance, gazebo, whatever.
Okay.
But I would like it to, I think I could be in favor of it if it read the same way our
Mimic the
boathouse.
process. Okay.
You know, if it meets VMRC's requirements and your neighbors are happy with it, no worries. If it's 410 square feet or your neighbors have a problem, it has to go to the Board of Supervisors and have a conditional use permit. I mean, that seems to work really well for boathouses, and I don't know why it can't work for sun shelters.
Well, it would, because the same problems you run up against with boathouses are the exact same concerns that you're going to run up
But
with these.
I think.
Yeah.
How do taxes work on boathouses, Stuart? Are they taxed at a higher rate than the dock itself?
I would assume so. I don't know. That's
I
Mr.
don't know if
Thomas.
they're taxed at a higher rate, but they're certainly assessed
More
higher.
worth more, yeah.
So their
no
value of their
breakout, it's just
property.
the
I mean, it's the same with a
Same
boat lift, I would
Right.
assume. If you have just a dock, it'd be cheaper, and if you put a boat lift, it'd be more expensive. You put a boathouse on it, it'd be more expensive even still.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know
When
exactly
they're
how they
looking at-
tax those, but.
When they're doing appraisals, they always walk the land to see if there are any improvements. And you get taxed on a boathouse, even if it's half falling into the river.
Is there a
That's
feeling that
conservative.
there'd be more sun shelters because they'd be cheaper to build and to do?
That would be one thing,
I
and
mean-
the other part of it is, you've already got your dock there, so it's an add-on, as opposed to doing the whole permit process specifically for gazebo on the dock, I guess. But
And that's something, I mean, I'm just kind of, I mean, this is all kind of new. I hadn't thought about this before,
Yeah.
so, but I'm throwing that out. Are we going to have more people wanting to do gazebos because they're cheaper, or, and how can we make sure that they don't use a gazebo to cover their boat?
I think that guy was, the photo that we saw.
You're gonna need a gazebo sheriff.
Well, I think there
Yeah,
should be,
there's a boat
I mean,
under the one.
I'm
There'll
just
be
throwing
deck-
stuff
It's a
out
good way to
because,
sink your boat.
if there's no decking below the sun shelter, then that's a boathouse.
okay.
But we did approve boat canopies,
Right.
and we haven't had any major issues there. I mean,
I don't know how many we got in the county.
The last time I talked with Mr. Marston, he said, in addition to Mr. Williams, he's gotten 3 or 4, not a whole lot of them. And I'm not sure a lot of people know about that they're allowed either. It's not something we go out and advertise, and if they don't read the newspaper, they might not even know about it.
And as far as we know, we don't have anybody waiting for this ordinance, right? And this came up by the architect as opposed to by county residents who want to do it?
I think Ms. Hall is holding one application from from a wetlands agent
Okay.
until, I think that's what she told me.
Would it
Okay,
be
so there
too
is
long to
interest.
wait until Philip got back before
That's what
we
I was
took
going
action
to, that's
on
what
it?
I was going to suggest. I
Yeah.
mean, it sounds like y'all are in agreement as long as we can get it to mimic. Now, the actual workings of the language, that he may be helpful in that. He's got an idea. He was thinking about putting in the boathouse ordinance, but, we finagled the canopies in there, and trying to finagle sun shelters in there might be a bit far, stretch, but, I would prefer, and I'll talk with Mr. Marston about this, I would prefer we call them sun shelters, because to me, a gazebo is an 8-sided structure, an octagon. And a sun shelter is a sun shelter.
Well, and the other thing, I think a gazebo kind of assumes it's screened.
Yeah.
People have
Seen
had
one not
gazebos in
screened.
their yard, they're screened in areas where they can pick crabs or whatever. So
Well, I
that's
know
another reason I think we should go with sun
It's
shelter.
a lot easier to cut right angles than it is to cut eighth of angle, whatever an octagon angle is. I guess it's 8 in a 360, wouldn't it? Yeah, I mean, Mr. Marston may have some ideas. We may do a standalone, whatever he feels. But, I don't really think we have to define sun shelter or anything like that, because it's in the VMRC ordinance, and like King George or Middlesex County, they just defer to VMRC because they've got it in their regs, what it is. Just like we didn't call solar installation solar farms, we call them solar energy facilities. Language matters sometimes, but I'm going to advocate Mr. Marston would use sun shelter, but
I agree. I think we ought to wait for Mr. Marston to have his input, because after all, whether you're just relaxing in a gazebo or partying or whatever, he's going to be the one to have to enforce the regulation. And
he should have some input.
Yeah, he definitely should have some input.
Okay.
Since Craig's sitting here, Craig, may I ask?
Yes.
Any input in terms of the demand for this sort of thing out there, at least in our county? Any idea at all?
Well, I have one I submitted back earlier this year over in the Little Conoco River. That was a similar design that you see for you.
But they abandoned it because it silted up, they couldn't get through until it's dredged, huh?
Sorry?
They abandoned it because the Little Comico needs to be dredged.
No, actually, they want it because they can't get out, so they want to start the pier.
Fair enough.
No, I mean, I think it's.
Is this your work here?
That's my permit, yeah. That was actually King George. It was permitted last year. So they have a high turnover there at the land use department in King George.
It looks real nice.
Okay.
Well, that's all I have, unless you all have something you'd like to discuss.
No, we'll just wait for Mr. Marston.
In that case, Mr. Chairman?
Oh, I have one quick thing. Maybe it's not quick, I hope it is. If the information that they provided around, that Sally Mader provided, included reference to the Matthews County comprehensive plan. I did have a chance to take a look at it, and I asked Stuart to print out the section that described their process. Very different than what we went through. And Matthews County is smaller than we are. They're only 8,300 people. I would really hope that, assuming we get done with our comprehensive plan in the next few months, I think we're largely done, that when we undertake to do this again, that it be more than just an editing process. That one thing that really struck me, and I told you, I participated in a similar process when I lived in Loudoun County on a much larger scale, because there are 500,000 people. But community input was so important, and it certainly appeared to be so in Matthews County as well. And the fact that we heard all of this very good information that Sally made was quite useful. I think to have more community engagement and sort of that. I also think that the work that, particularly the graphics that we had done for us were very helpful in getting this survey into the plan. Sort of creates a Trojan horse to say, let's start getting community input in the various factors that affect the future of the county. Because in my view, I think we did a good job in terms of bringing it up to date, making it more readable, more presentable, but it really doesn't talk about the future very much still.
That's right.
And I think we need to do more of that. That being said, we probably need to think about, once this plan is passed, we'll have a date of 2025. By law, we need to do another in 2030. I suggest that probably around the end of 2028, we start thinking about that process for those of us who might still be on this commission at that point. But I think I'm very strong feeling about this. We need to do this very differently next time.
So was there any one thing at Matthews that stuck out?
The focus on the future.
Okay.
The fact that they got community input to say, what do we need? We've talked about some of what we need, but they had a lot more detail and a lot more consensus behind it as well, as because they had these community forums scheduled, several of them, five different types of topics and themes emerged from all of this. And it really had, to me, a profound impact on what the plan said in terms of what to focus on. Because again, I think our challenge here is that we all know we got no money right now because of the school financial issues. Ultimately, once those are resolved, we should be doing okay as a county again. So what could we be doing with our resources, assuming we're not going to roll back taxes? And maybe we will, but it just seems like we are a county very much in need of a lot of stuff. And they talk specifically around, I saw some comments about somebody recently requesting at the Board of Supervisors pickleball courts. Well, we say that in here. Tennis courts, basketball. God knows what other sports Alan's going to be playing next year. I mean, he's got so many on his plate now, but there's so many recreational needs that we have, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So I really think we need to start gathering consensus about what does the future of this county look like from an investment perspective, if nothing else. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And pretty much the problem is every time we say something like this, we get pushed further down the road because we forget about maintenance. When you build something, add something, all of a sudden you got to maintain what you added.
Yeah.
Because even the sewage system in Callio are rebuilt.
Yeah.
Even that sewage system is going to have to be maintained, and the price is never going to go down. It's always going to go up.
Right, agreed.
So,
We had to replace a feed line going across the creek last year or so. What did that cost? It cost $250,000, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around that, 300,000 maybe.
That's something we hadn't thought about, but
Yeah, there's a section in the swamp that they want to replace as well. I think that's in the capital improvement plan, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, the next one you can see coming, to your point, is this whole park that they put behind the library.
Yeah.
They took a whole lot of money out of their endowment or whatever they call that to build that. Well, that's got to be maintained. And last I looked at the person who runs the library, her job description did not include public works and recreation. So somebody's going to have to do that stuff. Now, maybe they've figured out how to fund that, but to your point, you're absolutely right.
Could you tell when you looked at Matthews, and I did not look at it, but did they go to the people?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, I've got it up right here, that they had,
they went to parts of the community instead of making the community come to the courthouse.
that was just the dredging.
Oh, I thought you would.
No, it's right, it's up right there if you want to go through it.
No, I don't.
They had
Well, no, I'm just-
meetings
yeah.
from October 2007 to February 28, called it Second Tuesdays in Matthews. Each session included 60 to 80 people and lively and thoughtful discussions. The Board of Supervisors and the Planning Commission had a they had a 17-member comprehensive plan advisory group representing each of the 5 county planning areas, and they named them. The advisory group assisted county planners and administrators in furthering the comprehensive plan and hosting community meetings in each of the 5 districts. Summaries of the meetings were held from August to November 2008 and included an appendix. Some of the common things were, and we share a lot of these, failing septic systems and effect on water quality of creeks, public access to county waters and shorelines, flooding and drainage, maintenance of ditches, it's Matthew's trash and pancake. Enhanced small business and employment opportunities for waterfront and water-based industries, tourism, ecotourism, heritage tourism, retail and support services, communication needs, high-speed broadband, internet access, cell towers, code enforcement, wetlands, junk, neglected abandoned buildings, environmental conservation, wetlands, forests, water soils, rising sea levels, etc. And it goes on, but I mean, the Board of Supervisors worked with the Planning Commission and appointed people, so, you know, that, I looked back for the memo and I couldn't find it, but I do believe that the memo that the board sent us, I think it was pre-COVID, said to review the comprehensive plan. And, you know, you can have 10 different interpretations of review, but I saw it as sort of just updating it as opposed to a rewrite. And anyway, but next time we'll see.
Yeah, and this isn't necessarily have to do with the comprehensive plan. I mean, that could be the end goal, but there's no reason we're not out talking to the community or facilitating discussions from our districts and our community members, both the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors. You know, this isn't something that has to wait till 2028, is what I'm saying.
Up to a point, you're right. Where that breaks down, though, is we can't take any action or initiate anything without the Board of Supervisors requesting it.
Right, and I'm just saying, maybe we need to think about, once all these budgets and crises are kind of under management, that's something we can go forward to try to facilitate within the county and let the community know we do want to hear what they have to say.
Yep. And that's something, I think, again, this graphic, this survey we put together in here is something that, given the opportunity, when the board hears
right.
the plan, say, look, this is a means to begin to do this. In fact, the Matthews County actually had a Survey Monkey using similar kinds of questions that they gathered broader input. So I think it is a beginning of a step forward.
Yeah, that's all. I just think it's really good that they...
Okay, Stuart, a Board of Supervisors report. I know you.
I apologize, I was not at the Board of Supervisors
Okay,
meeting.
all right.
It was really good.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I mean, I can
The
look
paper
up
didn't even
the
tell
calendar.
it, so what went on?
There's,
I mean, it wasn't in the record.
it was, you had to look for it, and the reason why it's hard to find is it's basically the same stuff.
Okay.
And they've been going over financial controls and that sort of thing. School board doesn't want them. They do. You know, it's like a really bad marriage. That being said,
Well, I can relate that I left before the public hearings, but they had, remember, I think I mentioned to you about the substandard housing improvement project in Lampkin Town Road.
Yes.
That the
That was
PDC's working with CDBG and DHCD and state, and they needed to hold a public hearing that announces and asks for public comments on that project. In addition, the board also did a resolution supporting that community development block grant application. And there was something regarding dogs that the state code changed, that they had to change the reference, the citation to, about dogs in subdivisions, I think. I'm not sure, because we have leash laws in certain subdivisions, but not countywide, and it had to do with that. Did I get it?
Well, you're close. There's agreements with the subdivisions for the county to enforce the know that the county set out there because they've got the multiple HOAs, that's what this is about. There's all these HOAs, but it's not all of them, because it's done by agreement.
So now the county has to sign each, so the county now has to work with each individual homeowners association?
If the homeowners association calls the county and says, we got a problem, the county has to go out there.
Okay.
my Lord.
But not all homeowners associations are on that list.
Gotcha.
So it's negotiated between HOA and the county.
Mr. O'Brien, what's taking you so long?
I'm still, my motion is still on the floor, and that is that we adjourn.
Second.
But I haven't had public comments yet, if there's any.
You just had it. It's pretty hard to stop.
All right. Is there anyone online that would like to have something to say? All right, nice having Mr. Haney tune in. Motion for adjournment.
I make the motion again.
Second again.
All right, you're adjourned, thank you.